It's time to do my Pokemon SoulSilver review. Pokemon SoulSilver is a remake of the original Pokemon Silver for Game Boy Color. It's on the DS. Let's get started. Now I'm going to be critiquing Pokemon SoulSilver on 4 areas: story, graphics, gameplay, and miscellaneous. Not necessarily in that order. Let's get started. The graphics of Pokemon SoulSilver, especially for those who haven't played a Pokemon game since maybe this first or second generations. I don't know if you can see very well, but they're a little bit more advanced. Especially they're more into the realm of 3D as opposed to 2D as the originals were. It's a bit jarring, I'm not gonna lie. If you haven't played any of the later generations of the later titles in the series, it's really difficult to get into this, especially since it's such a huge graphical leap. However, once you start playing through the story, you'll instantly fall back into place. It's the nostalgia will hit, and although it's graphically enhanced, I think they could have just remade it without doing that, but the graphics definitely do not hurt the remake. Moving on. The story of Pokemon SoulSilver, for all intents and purposes, as far as I can tell, is identical to the original Silver. It takes place in the Johto region, which is next to the Kanto region from Pokemon Red and Blue, as well as Yellow. And basically, it takes place 3 years after the events of Red and Blue. You're in this new region, Team Rocket has disbanded, they're trying to regroup in your location, and it's up to you to go on a quest, collect, catch Pokemon, become a Pokemon Master, and stop Team Rocket from trying to, take over the world. It's a very good premise. It's actually, this game is the only one that encompasses 2 different story regions, Kanto and Johto, and it's just phenomenal. The story is basic. It gets the premise out there very quick. It's a good game. It's a good story. Moving on. Gameplay. The gameplay for Pokemon SoulSilver really is unchanged. There are a lot more moves and a lot more elements to kind of pay attention to when you play through it, but for the most part, if you played a Pokemon game, you know how the game's played. You fight your Pokemon against enemy Pokemon, your opponent trainer's Pokemon. You go around collecting, badges. You take on the Elite Four. In this case, after that, you can go to Mount Silver, take on Red, who is actually Ash from the Pokemon games. And you can go to the Kanto region and collect the other 8 gym badges as if you were playing the original game. And that's really, really fun. It definitely has a broad scope of things to do, and it'll definitely keep you playing for a long, long time to come. Now, there are some changes that I did not like. I think it's cool to be able to have a Pokemon, namely the first Pokemon in your party, follow you, but I wish that was a feature that you could turn off. Sometimes the Pokemon look stupid, and I don't really want them behind me. But it was a nice improvement. I'm used to it now, but it's real jarring to see how the menu is no longer popping up on screen. It's down on the touch screen. Although there are some benefits to that, it's nice to be able to touch the screen to use a selected item or a registered item, or even what they have now is you can have the running shoes selected and you don't have to hold down the B button. That's a really nice improvement, although it's a little bit jarring at first, but you'll get used to it. But one of the gameplay issues that I had was that you could no longer purchase evolution stones. I believe you could purchase them in Silver and all them back at Celadon. You can't purchase them anymore. You now have to do what is known as Pokeathlon, kind of like a marathon type thing. It's like these sporty kind of competition things, and you basically have to get points. You have to get points and purchase these things, and they're different every day. I don't know, that's awesome. It's a new thing to kind of catch, younger generation. I don't want to do that. I want to just buy the stones, evolve the Pokemon. That's what I want. So it's a bit I wish they would have included that. It's a nice touch, but it's one of those things that the gameplay really didn't need to include. And more or less that's included with the miscellaneous stuff that Pokemon SoulSilver has to offer, which is what I'm going to move on to right now. In terms of extra content, really, like the Pokelathon that they've done, the can't think. The Safari Zone is different. You can customize it yourself. That's an interesting touch. Of course, you've got that global trading center that you can mess with to trade with people internationally. That's different. They've added miscellaneous things, but for the most part, Pokemon SoulSilver really feels like, you know, there's always remakes of classic games, and they usually don't go over so well. But I gotta say that through it all, even though there are some things that they added I wish they hadn't of, they didn't add anything horrible to the game, and the improvements are much acceptable, very acceptable, and I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Pokemon SoulSilver a 9 out of 10. Maybe even a 9.5 for nostalgia value. I'm not sure, but definitely this is a solid 9 out of 10. I highly recommend if you enjoyed the second generation of Pokemon games and you own a DS, I highly recommend purchasing SoulSilver or Heart Gold, whatever you would like or whichever you prefer. They're very good games. Go get them.